What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I was hoping that today we could talk about why I quit Mythic raiding. Now, I've been playing this game since I was like 10 years old, and for the longest time I've been focusing mostly on PvE content. PvE content always had that sort of special appeal of a whole bunch of people getting together to do something and achieving something together, and I always liked that idea, that we all came together as a team and killed a monster, or destroyed a boss, or saved a village, and I've always liked that type of thought process in an MMO. And even though I've been playing World of Warcraft since Classic, I haven't really played seriously until BC. BC was my very first taste into what serious raiding was really about. I really loved the encounters in Karazhan. I loved Black Temple when I first stepped into there. It was just all dark and dreary. We were all excited to go in there and just face, the bad guys and whatever. This is way before, heroic modes and stuff were enabled. So it was all about how far into the expansion you got. How many raids did you down? It wasn't about, the difficulty of the raid and how many times you cleared the difficulty and how many different variations of difficulties that you walked into. It was about those raids and what those raids meant and how they were difficult compared to the raids beforehand. It wasn't so much so that everything was accessible and you get to play, everyone could be playing the current content. The content that was current was the content that you were good at. So it was whatever you could actually do as a team. And that's what really first grabbed me, was that I was getting to see exclusive content that no one else could see. I'll say that the exclusive content really stopped as soon as Wrath came out, right? We started getting variations and difficulties, hard modes enabled per fight. It was, when a new tier came out, we all kind of swapped over to it. No matter what, how good you were, you swapped to that difficulty. And that was really when the points started to rack up, that this idea that, well, this current content should be whatever is new in the game. It's not what you're good at, it's not what your team's good at, it's whatever the game progresses and pushes you forward to. And I don't really like that idea that we are dragged along with the game instead of us pushing forward at our own pace and what's acceptable for us as players. I think it's really cool to open up an expansion and just, hey, here's all the raids, let's see how good you are, and they all advance depending on what kind of gear you get and how good you are at the game. That's how you progress through the system. And if you're really, really good and you think you can take out the hardest difficulty raid with really bad gear, then go for it. You probably won't get that far, but you can still go for it. You still have the opportunity to do it, but you don't really have that chance to do it in current WoW, right? You don't have that opportunity. WoW holds your hands and drags you along like you're a scared child walking through the freeway going to the market or something. It's not really about what you can do, it's about what the game can do for you. And I liked that idea. I've never really enjoyed the concept of the game telling you what is good for you. And the game does that a lot more now, especially when it comes to raiding. Raiders, and as much as PvP people like to complain and say we get all the special treatment.
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
Which we do for the most part. We do get a lot of the PvE stuff gets pushed out way more than PvP, and I'm sorry about that. But we still have this idea in PvE where we are at the whim of whatever World of Warcraft rating is. If they want to make mythic content be mythic content, it's great. If they want to take away all of our stuff, they can. If they want to make us go from this raid to the next raid, you want to throw a 0.5 raid in that's awful, make us have to do it, we have to do it. And it's those type of situations that make it to where I don't want to play the game, I don't want to be involved, and it's just a fuss. What I'm really trying to say is that I wish there was more freedom in World of Warcraft, and I hate the fact that there's less freedom, especially in the mythic environment. There isn't a lot of freedom in what you do. You're kind of just pulled along on this chain, and you have no options. That's a reason, but that's not the main reason why I quit raiding. One of the main reasons why I quit raiding is because World of Warcraft itself isn't fun. Yeah, right? World of Warcraft overall isn't fun, but it's not fun because of several reasons. One of those reasons being the Azerite necklace, the main way for us to progress in the game right now is just not interesting to do. I don't personally enjoy going out every day and farming this fathomable ability Azerite armor ore that just magically goes into my gear every time I kill a monster. I don't like the idea that all of my gear comes from a specific place and I have to go there, and it's very RNG whether I'm going to get a regular piece of gear that I need or a Titan Forge piece, or I'm going to run the same dungeon 800 times to get that one trinket that I need to be progressive in my raid group, because my raid group requires me to be good, and for me to be good I need that trinket, you know what I mean? And as a raider, I've always enjoyed the process of looting, getting gear and gearing up at a considerable and understandable rate. in previous expansions like BC, for instance, I knew that my gear came from this dungeon and it dropped at this rate, and I had a good chance of getting it per day. I went and did my mythics, or not my mythics, my heroics, and it was really fun. I enjoyed the fact that I knew where I was getting what I was getting from there, and I never had a chance to get like, you know, Titan Forges or some wibbly wobbly legendary like in Legion. It was no RNG base. It was just, hey, did you attend the thing? Did it drop? No? Oh, just come again, do it again. And that pre-process to mythic raiding is a really big deal. It's where you spend most of your time, because you raid for like 3 to 4 hours a day. You don't really spend your whole time in there. It's not your life. Your life isn't raiding as much as you are a raider. Your life is outside of raid and what you do in it. That being said, I still have problems with mythic raiding itself, but I don't like the fact that to actually get to the points of the game that I like, I have to do things that I hate. And it was never like that before. I've never had that feeling before. This is actually the first expansion in which I just don't like playing the game in general, and that's strange because I played WoD. If you played Warlords of Draenor, you understand that there was hardly any content in that game to play with, but it wasn't tedious. The content that I did have to do wasn't tedious. If I wanted to go gear up, if I wanted to gear an alt up or level an alt, I'd just go level an alt, and then I'd go and do PvP to gear them up, because PvP gave me tokens. Those tokens went to a vendor. I got the gear that I needed for my fresh new character. My character came out and he was fresh 410 already done. You know, Mythic Plus wasn't around then, so there wasn't really any way to do that, but you just went through and got the tokens that you needed to do by doing random stuff, doing old school dungeons, doing old school raids. That's how you got gear, and it was very reliable for me, and I enjoyed it. I didn't have a problem with it, and the raiding content back then was great. I really loved the raiding content in general. You know, catch-up mechanics like Today in Jungle was, you know, not great, but it was a start. It was something that was nice. It was a nice little catch-up mechanic if you needed to do it, and I know we're so far to the beginning of the expansion that it's really hard to expect anything more from this expansion by, you know, begging for more loot or begging for more ways. And I know that they're going to be coming out with ways in the next tier, but the fact is that this game so early on should not be as boring and dull and fruitless as it is now. And right now, I can't even bring myself to log on. So what's the real reason that I quit mythic raiding? Honestly, if I had to pick one specific thing, it'd have to be the fact that I am just very self-defeating when it comes to anything serious or hardcore. When it comes to like raiding in general, I tend to really put a lot of pressure on myself, and I spend a lot of time on the target dummy, especially if I'm a DPS, just trying to make sure I'm doing my rotation correctly and make sure I'm playing well. And if I have a really bad night, or if I'm blamed for something, even if it's not my fault, if the blame does go on me for something, I tend to take that very hard. And it's something that personally I've had a lot of trouble working through. I try to be as fair and as honest and as really open as possible when it comes to rating, but you know, just like anyone else, I guess when it comes down to it, you know, criticism is nice, but sometimes too much criticism is too much, and it kind of pushes me over the edge. And I'm not even saying that anyone in my guild really criticized me too much, because they're really nice people. I think it's more so that I criticize myself, and then I start thinking to myself, you know, well, you know, am I actually performing where I need to perform? You know, are they being nice to me? Is that what's going on? Because like, there's not an open forum in our guild. Like when it comes down to it, like I don't know how to explain it really. When I was in previous guilds, I don't really want to point it out real quick what guild they were, but when I was in previous guilds, you know, there was no blinders. No one really had, you know, people's opinions of each other were out there. So like our guild master would write down a progress report for each raider, and they'd have that listed so you see where everyone stands in the guild. And if you were making a mistake, but other people were making mistakes too, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, we're all making mistakes. It's not just me. And when it comes to my guild, honestly, like we never really kind of like openly formatted our own issues to everybody. We kind of just like did it in private, talked about what was going on, and then I'd reflect on it. And that reflection slowly over time became self-hate.
Stop it. Get some help.
When it comes to like how I played and how I performed. And I've always had this like little niche on my shoulder when it comes to tanking, where it's like, you know, if I'm dying, whose fault is it? You know, that's usually the question is, when a tank dies, whose fault is it in the situation? And it's always hard for me to look, because I'm looking at logs or I'm looking at whatever. You know, maybe I didn't have mitigation up at some point, but I'm also not receiving heals for a certain amount of time, or maybe I just made a mistake that night, or maybe I wasn't playing well, or maybe a healer was making a mistake. You know, a lot of things go into why a tank dies. And whenever I die in a raid, I take it very seriously, and I get very depressed about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of tanks out there who have the same issues. And I'm telling you right now, man, if you can't handle it, then just be honest and tell people you can't handle it. I think that after a while, I've been tanking like this for years, and I think the lack of communication, a lot of things combined really set me off to where I didn't want to be in the group anymore. There are some other things that go into that, not just me raiding, not just, you know, healing and tanking issues, but there's a lot of things that I can't really talk about that go into a guild environment that I would love to talk about, but I don't really want to embarrass anybody or talk about anyone specifically. I do really like and enjoy my raid team, and I do really like and enjoy the people in the guild. But you know, like anything else, whenever you're playing a solid group activity with other people, there is sort of like an expectation that everyone performs at a certain level. And you know, if other people in the group aren't meeting that certain level, you kind of slowly start to feel as if you're the only one doing it, and that's not true at all, right? Your guild as a whole, there's a lot of people in your group that are doing a lot of effort, putting a lot of work into it, you know, and whatever. And what happens for me personally is that if I see other people not putting work into stuff or not putting in the effort, I slowly start to not put an effort in. Like if I see that everyone else is like putting in minimal effort and getting okay results and no one's questioning them on that or confronting them on the problem, like, well, if they can get away with doing whatever they want, then I might as well do whatever I want. And that's kind of like where I sat with some of the issues in my guild personally. I think that that's not probably entirely true. In a lot of situations, that's probably like maybe half the actual like truth to the situation in most guilds, really, is that, you know, it's not always black and white. There's always, you know, things being discussed that I'm not a part of or that other people are a part of. But you know, after seeing that for so long, you start to not care as much. And I think that after a while, I decided, you know, I'm not really having a good time here, and I'm not really caring to the capacity that I should be for someone who is in a tank position. You know, it's best for me to step away. And I think that inevitably that combined with all the other stuff in World of Warcraft, because I can really put up with that if World of Warcraft was fun itself, but that combined with everything else in World of Warcraft right now really pushed me away from the game and made me not want to play. Guys, if you stuck through the listen the whole time, thank you guys so much. Please follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch, and on YouTube. The thing should be coming up on screen right now. If you guys liked the video, please like it. If you didn't like it, please dislike it. I want to know what your opinions are. Leave a comment in the description below. Some of you who are going to be posting on it know that I posted a video exactly this like a few days ago, and then I deleted it. It's because I felt like it was rude, some of the things I said in that video, so I removed them. And this is almost this entire second half of this video is pretty much a new recorded section. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. There'll be another video this week. We're going to do another one because I am a little late for the second video. So hopefully you guys really like that new video out. We're working on getting some stuff done with the Twitch channel. So if you're interested in Twitch, please go check me out, guys. I stream on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday from 6:45 p.m. to 12 in the morning. So please come hit me up. Come say hi. Come holler. Come do whatever you want to do. And I'll see you there, guys. All right. Love you.